Okay, very happy to be joined by the Cage Warriors welterweight champion, the man who will defend that title. Cage Warriors 188, April 26th at the RDS in Dublin, taking on Justin Burlinson. Jimbo Slice, Mr. Slice, as he has put on his thing, James Sheehan. James, how you doing, man?
Very good. Very happy to be joining you here. It's a beautiful day here in Dublin, and looking forward to just over 2 weeks' time now to defend that belt. So yeah,
Yeah, it's a nice day over here in England, the other side of the water as well. So it's been a great few days, to be fair. It's been a long time since we've seen you in the cage. Almost a year to the day you won the belt. That beautiful piece of gold. How has that year been? Obviously, you were supposed to be in there with Giannis. That ended up not happening. He's over in PFL now, so it's not going to happen. But how has life been since we last saw you?
good. So since that last fight, I was obviously booked to fight Giannis, as you said. I had broken my hand for that fight. The turnaround on that on that injury was actually quite quick. So I was able to get straight back into full time training. So I was ready. I actually wanted to fight November in London, I think it was last year. But Ian and Graham just assured me that they were kind of holding off for the Dublin card. So I've been ready since then. It's been a long camp. I've added a few. You constantly have to be evolving in this game, so I've added weapons to the arsenal that I'm looking to implement in this fight. And yeah, but I'm constantly trying, constantly ready. So I'm looking forward to putting it all together now, April 26th.
You talk about that evolution there. You said you've had a lot of time with that after that injury. What's going to be different about the James Sheehan stepping into the cage in just a couple of weeks versus the guy back in April last year?
Just more weapons to my arsenal. Obviously, like every time you have that bit of time off, you're trying to add things to become a better fighter. So the next when your opponents watch film that they have something else to worry about on the night, and that's basically what I've been doing the last year. And so I've had plenty of time to drill it and then implement it over a couple of months now. That it's been tried and tested in sparring, so I'm more than confident now that that's kind of the main thing that I'm looking forward to as well about this fight is being able to show that I've made those few adjustments and those new improvements.
You mentioned the fight there. Justin Burlinson is the man in front of you, a guy who's seemingly been around for a long time, despite being so young. Obviously, he's had his battles outside of the cage in that time as well, which are well documented at this point. Um, what were your thoughts when his name was first presented to you?
I wasn't surprised. I knew Burlinson is a high level guy. He's up there at the top of the division. He has a similar record to me. I think he's 9-2, so he's got a good record. He's from a good team, and he's well experienced and a gamey guy. And like that, he's fought in the contender series. He showed he's at
Yeah.
that level as well. So I'm not so I wasn't surprised when it was him that was put forth.
How do you think he compares to the guys you've been fighting? Like you said, he was on Contender Series. His only losses were on the Contender Series and to Reese. Obviously, two guys very quickly ended up in the UFC after that fight.
Hmm.
How do you think he compares to the guys you've been fighting previously?
Look, I fought guys that are now in the UFC. Obviously with Oban and Ian.
Yeah.
I train with UFC level fighters, and look, they're everyone in Cage Warriors is good. There's going to be no easy fights, and regardless whether this is the best Justin Burlinson or the worst Justin Burlinson, you never know on how people's camp is going. I can't control any of that. The only thing that I can control is that I am the best version of myself, and I go out and implement what I can do in the fight, and that's all I'm kind of focusing on at the moment.
our man Jake spoke to you at the RDS after you won the title. You described yourself, these are your words, as a notoriously slow starter. Justin has a lot of quick finishes on his record,
Mm.
mainly earlier in his career, but he's been a finisher consistently. Is there anything you can do or have done in preparation to prevent this being a potential issue?
Yeah, of course. I'm well aware of my strengths and well aware of my faults, and so are all of my coaches. So that's something that we're constantly working day in day out, regardless of specific fight. This is just the game in general, and there's no destination in this game. You're constantly improving, constantly looking to get that 1% better, and that's one of those things that I've been constantly improving on. So yeah.
And it's been a big few weeks for Irish MMA as well. A lot is being made of the 3-0 record for Irish fighters in the UFC this year. Shauna, Reese, Kalen all picking up wins. Paul Hughes really making a name for himself in PFL. Sold out show, if not close to sold out, in Belfast for him coming up soon. Huge fight for Ian Gary in just a couple of weeks. Does it feel like we're in a bit of a resurgence again, where maybe for the past couple of years, the talent was absolutely there, but maybe struggling to represent on the bigger stages a little bit? Does it feel like we're in that resurgence again?
Yeah, I think the talent was always there. Maybe it's
Yeah.
just it's people are aware of it now. Like if
Hmm.
you're in the if you're in the know, basically if you're down the trenches with the boys, we kind of know the level ourselves, even if we're not represented on the international stage. Like we knew how good of a a level we have in Ireland, and it's just the rest of the world is now starting to find out. Like, and re- regardless, like great teams in history go through rebuilding phases, and it was just after McGregor, it was just a time of like the next stage was just getting to that point where they are now. They just weren't at that point in their career yet, and now we're all kind of there at the moment. And then the same will happen with the next generation as well. That we will just produce generations of great fighters.
So what do you feel is next for you? You say obviously the talent is there throughout all of Ireland, but what do you think is next for you after this fight here? And I know you don't like to look too far ahead of fights, but where do you kind of see yourself, say, for the rest of 2025?
Well, ultimately, I want to. Of course, I don't like looking too far ahead, but
Yeah.
I definitely would expect that with a good win over such a good opponent, that I'd expect to start putting my name in contention for the contender series or the UFC. So that's kind of where I would hope to see myself in 2025, or the position I should be in. But like at the end of the day, the UFC is a business. They're not here to give handouts. So I need to prove to them April 26th that I am at that level. So that's basically my thinking going into this.
Yeah, and obviously just one more on the fight coming up this time. It is a hometown fight for you, RDS, big venue in Dublin. What does it mean to you to kind of be in such a showcase position? I mean, the cards build around you in Dublin at the RDS. What does it mean to you to have that opportunity, as well as have the trust put in you by Cage Warriors to be able to do that and be the real focus of the event?
Yeah, it's fantastic. Look, I'm very grateful for Cage Warriors that they give not only me but Irish fighters a direct path to the UFC. And there was a couple of years there where there wasn't that given path, and now it's understood. Like even mentally, guys know that like right, if I knuckle down here and get onto Cage Wars and fight my way up the ranks and get that belt and possibly defend, like that path is there at the UFC. So it's absolutely fantastic. You know, I'm grateful that um, they've given us the opportunity, and to be able to do it in Dublin from the Irish fans is just the cherry on the top.
We mentioned the man a little while ago, Ian Gary. Obviously, someone you have history with, but in the last few months, you guys trained together as well. What was that experience like for you, given the history you have together, but also what are your thoughts on what he's gone on to do since then and where he could potentially go in the future?
Yeah, it was great to try him in. Um, Leveling up your game, picking Ian's brain is great. Especially he's gone on to prove that he's one of the best welterweights in the world. If not the best in the coming years. And that's why he definitely believes he is the best guy out there. Like going a short notice fight against Shavkat, the boogeyman of the division, and now even the same with Carlos Prates, who was a very tricky and dangerous fight for anyone in the division. It goes to show the self belief and the work he puts in. And yeah, I think I am looking forward to getting in more training with Ian in the future.
Yeah.
After this fight, we'll link up again. Um, and yeah,
Yep. We have a bit of a quick fire segment, so I'm just going to throw some questions at you. Favorite food?
favorite food, uh, steak.
Yeah, not an ideal question 2 weeks before a fight, I'm aware.
My
Favorite
weight
drink?
is good. My weight is good.
Favorite drink?
Favorite drink, water. That's boring, but water.
What's your go-to breakfast?
Go to breakfast, overnight oats.
Favorite movie?
Favorite movie, most watchable one, rewatchable one is Django Unchained for me. Favorite movie would probably have to be. I'm big into movies, so it is. I like Matrix, like Lord of the Rings, like anything Quentin Tarantino. Fuck, I'll keep it as Django. Fuck it.
Cool. Favorite TV show?
Um, Favorite TV show. Fuck. What was I big on there recently? Oh, I just finished The Sopranos there like 2 weeks ago. That was fucking fantastic.
Favorite musician?
Kid Cudi.
Favorite sport other than MMA?
Hurling.
As an Englishman, I do not know much about hurling, so I'm just gonna leave that there. Favorite fight? Favorite fight of yours and a favorite fight to watch?
Favorite fight of mine was, I'm gonna say, the Carol Miklak fight. The fact I was working a lot on my box and then got the KO. Um, my favorite fight to watch, yeah, of my fights or
Just a fight to watch. Anyone,
fight to watch.
any fight.
I think a great fight is Gilbert Burns and Hamza. That's a great fight. That's the one that's coming off, or Rory McDonald and Robbie Lawler. That's also a great fight.
Favorite fighter.
I always get asked this, but I never really have anyone in general. I like Robert Whitaker. I like um I like Volk, of course. I like Taporia. I like Taporia's style. Um, yeah, I'll go with Robert Whitaker.
You mentioned Volk there. Obviously, big fight for him this weekend. How do you think that one goes?
Um, I think Lopez takes it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm leaning that way as well. But like I said, I'm a big Volk fan too. But I'm
Yeah,
leaning that way as
open
well.
Volk gets it done. The time off that his chin is kind of there, but Lopez is a dog and he goes for it.
Favorite submission to practice.
Favorite submission, head and arm.
Funniest person you've met in MMA.
Funniest person, Paul Redzer.
Yeah. Best piece of advice you've been given.
Best piece of advice. Not everyone's gonna like you, so you might as well just be you and see who ends up in your circle.
Nice, that's a good one. Um, that does it for that. I want to thank you for taking the time today, James. Very excited to see you back in there, April 26th, Cage Warriors, 188 defending that welterweight gold. Just finally, give us the hard sell. When yourself, Justin Burlinson step into the cage, what can the people expect?
People can expect a high level fight. Like me and Burlinson are two top level guys that realistically should both be in the UFC. So you'll see a UFC level caliber fight, and you'll see my hand raised.
Perfect. And thank you for taking the time today, James. Best of luck.
Thanks so much, Steve. Appreciate it.